All right, let's do this. Okay. It's One Only Podcast, episode 5. These are really kind of for me as well, building out a structure to stay on my stuff. Because I gotta write, I gotta make music, and it's almost like these help me keep me accountable towards figuring out what the hell it is I'm doing, towards doing what it is I'm doing, and let's get into it. So I was thinking, what are we gonna write about, or what are we gonna talk about? Okay, we're gonna talk about how I don't know what it is that I'm making, but I know what it is I'm making. We've talked about the endurance training side of things, and I was like, let's give an example of what it is we're creating. So playing the background right now is this guitar that Max did back in February 2022. We were on a porch at this traveling education program we were doing. And I remember hearing him play this guitar, and I voice recorded it. It taps this thing that I call the feeling, which is what the story's about. But this story became called "You're Onto Something, Kid" to this song. And again, this was 4 years ago at this point. But what I'm doing is I'm kind of looking into some of the things that have been made in the past and the things that I've created recently, and kind of like there's a through line that's starting to be discovered. So I was at work in the break room, and I wrote this. You can't plan for a life-changing moment to happen. You don't know the ingredients needed. And we could contemplate what we should do, but I felt like I had spent 8 years doing that and was still searching for that answer. So what I was attempting to do in this moment in my life was to just go for it. To not need to know if this was right, but to muster up the courage to just get myself in the arena. Being in this city, on my way to this job, walking 0.7 miles to my car because I chose this apartment, led to me listening to this chapter of this book on this day. And I can't plan for all of this to happen. But by letting go of needing to know what to do before I did it, I was able to live and figure it all out from there. It's collecting moments like this, because that then leads to the chapter that I listened to. The last apartment that I lived in, there was parking in my building. It was $200 a month, and I didn't want to pay for that. I did the math. I was like, if I park 0.7 miles away from this apartment and I walk to my car, I make $10 an hour walking to my car, basically. And that walk soon became known as the Stoic Walk, because I would listen to this book called The Tao of Seneca on my way to the car. And it was just, we'll get into it the more this goes, but a lot of what this story is about came from me grappling with where I'm living, what I'm doing for work, and just what I'm doing with my life. So I would walk to my car in the morning, early in the morning, on my way to this job that I didn't think I should do, in a city that I didn't think I should be in. But because I was trying to practice this muscle of maybe these things in me that are screaming me to leave, and I shouldn't be doing this, maybe that's not intuition. Maybe it's fear and insecurities and avoidance or whatever it is. That moment led to me listening to that book, which on that day I'm talking about when I heard the quote, "The fool is always getting ready to live," for the first time. And hearing that quote was one of the first dominoes that became the basis of the entire kind of transformation and journey that I was on last year. So it's taking songs like this, boiling them down to the finest element. What is this song? It's this chord progression, and then when we slowly build it out a little bit, there's a melody to it, there's some drums, and I see what it can build and what it can turn into. It's this song is about this story. And this story gets plugged in to this bigger story. And there's an example of what's happening. But something that I wanted to go into after talking about You're Onto Something, Kid. I was just on a call with Rachel, my OCD specialist, therapist, and we were talking about how this point of life, it's really interesting. How it feels like I'm looking down a corner, and how we spent a lot of time working on these things. We spent a lot of time making music, a lot of time writing and looking into who we are and what is it that we want to make, and discovering through experiences and conversations and moments that I can't plan, what are these projects, what are these things we want to make? And we kind of know. We have an idea that can just get us a little bit further. But it feels like, for the first time, it feels like there's wind at my back. And it came from last year of everything that I just talked about. That chapter led to me, your new life is gonna cost you your old one, or you're gonna lose. This was built for a person you no longer are. I pulled up a chair with myself in that apartment and didn't leave for 12 months because I was like, we're gonna figure out why we can't finish this music. We're gonna figure out why we can't be consistent with this training. We're gonna figure these things out, because I was so used to shaking the snow globe of my life and shaking the snow globe of my life. And I thought that's what I should be doing. All these new experiences, that became my comfort zone. But I realized, what if I'm throwing myself into these environments? It's shaking the snow globe of life and making that water really murky. And I loved navigating that murky water. But if I sit and I let that water settle, I can really start to see what is really going on here. And we figured a lot of stuff out. And it really feels like now, this you're on to something kid, it's turned into you're doing something kid. And with that being said, we're just gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep chugging. We're gonna keep figuring it out. We're gonna keep stacking those bricks of fitness, of writing, of music, of creation, of life and living. Because at the end of the day, all of this stuff is simply used to help me understand more about this world and my place in it and live that life. So 21 LA, spread love. I'm gonna go get to work and write. You probably questioned the whole time, why am I even doing this? But we realized that's a treadmill that's always on, and I don't need to get on that treadmill. Instead, I'm gonna go walk around that corner. Let's keep going. See ya. Yeah, boy. Building out this room. Got the Mac Studio. Shout out Tommy Buns. Mac Studio. I'm gonna get that hooked up. Just starting to download all the software on there. It's gonna run. This is the 21 LA HQ. Everything. This is the kitchen that the things are cooked. Projector gonna be up here, mounted, plugged in, always ready to go. Scoring these ideas, guitars, music, art. Who knows what's going on? You know we got the Star Wars Lego. You know we got the fan pics. We've just got. The most important thing, and I'll leave you guys with this. We've got our boy. 21 LA chat. Be you. It works.